So in the last class, we were trying to talk about how to determine coefficient of consolidation. Okay. So next to go ahead, we'll try to quickly review what is that we have talked about. So in order to fasten the process of consolidation, we said we can try to improve the drainage condition. So by introducing what is called as vertical drains. And to be more specific, in earlier days, people used to use what is called as your sand drains. Okay, so for improving the drainage condition, then due to the technology development and so on, people started using what is called as geotextile material, geosynthetic material, is prefabricated vertical drain. So in order to hasten the process of consolidation in the field. So if I just want to quickly understand how does the variation of your pore water pressure varies with the depth of the soil. So if we are trying to look at how does the pore water pressure, I'm just trying to plot a graph between the ratio of U by U naught. So U refers to that of your excess pore water pressure. Okay. So your excess pore water pressure at any time, and U naught here refers to that of your excess pore water pressure. Excess pore pressure at time t equal to 0. Okay, so if I'm just trying to look at this particular ratio of U by U naught, let's say for example, I'm trying to understand how is your ratio of U by U naught. In the way I'm trying to understand how is your pore water pressure, excess pore water pressure is varying with the depth of the soil sample with respect to time. Okay, so at time t equal to 0, if I'm looking at, that's nothing but at time t equal to 0, that means the corresponding time factor is nothing but it is equal to 0. So at time t equal to 0, the corresponding time factor value is equal to 0. So automatically the pore water pressure what was getting developed in the soil sample at time t equal to 0, the numerator U by U naught when you are trying to talk about. So U is nothing but it is initial pore water pressure, excess pore water pressure getting developed at time t equal to 0. So numerator and denominator gets cancelled, and what you will have is the ratio of U by U naught to be equal to 1, which is same throughout the depth of the soil sample. This is what is indicating you, that is U by U naught ratio, which is same throughout the depth of the soil sample. Why is it same throughout the depth of the soil sample? Because your water didn't start to get dissipated out of the soil sample. Now with t greater than 0, okay, with time greater than 0, it means the corresponding time factors greater than 0. So what you will see is that once the water is allowed to get dissipated out of the soil sample, we are trying to look at the soil sample, which is the consolidation test that we are trying to talk about. Drainage is allowed from the top as well as from the bottom of the soil sample. So it means it's a two-way drainage case what we are looking at. So in the case of your two-way drainage condition, where the height of the soil sample what we are trying to look at is h. Okay. So with this two-way drainage condition, so once the water is allowed to go out of your soil sample, so automatically the excess pore water pressure at the top of your soil sample and at the bottom of the soil sample, the excess pore water pressure immediately becomes 0, and it is going to be maximum still at the center of your soil layer or center of your clay layer. Okay, and that maximum how much excess pore water pressure if you want to calculate, so we can try to calculate. And accordingly, as time increases, the corresponding time factor further increases, and what we see is that the so-called maximum pore water pressure what you had at the center earlier at some particular time, let's say at 1 hour or something. So now after 1 more hour, if I try to see the excess pore water pressure, the intensity of the excess pore water pressure at t equal to 1 hour, let's say that U by U naught ratio is something 0.9 or 0.95. At 2 hours, the ratio of U by U naught is coming out to be something 0.6 or 0.55 something. Roughly, I'm mentioning. I'm just talking about some numbers. And let's say after some other time, then U by U naught ratio is further decreasing. I'm referring to the same center of the clay layer. But what is happening is with increase in time, the corresponding time factor is increasing. So for that increase in time factor, if you are looking at the variation of your pore water pressure, what is getting developed, so with increase in time, so your excess pore water pressures, what are getting developed in the soil sample, starts slowly decreasing because the water is allowed to get dissipated out of your soil. So it continues to happen until your excess pore water pressure from the soil is completely getting drained out of your soil. Okay, so at time t equal to infinity, if we are trying to look at, it means the corresponding time factor is equal to infinity. So at time t equal to infinity, we understand that excess pore water pressure which got developed in the complete soil sample throughout its depth, excess pore water pressure dissipation is going to happen. So at time t equal to infinity, the ratio of u by u naught is nothing but automatically equal to 0 throughout the depth of your soil sample. So what we can understand from this particular discussion is, with increase in time, the pore water pressures which are getting developed in the soil sample at a particular depth, okay, if you are looking at, so it continues to decrease with increase in time. Okay, so as the water gets dissipated out of the soil sample with increase in time, the amount of excess pressures which are building up in the soil, excess pore water pressures which are building up in the soil, will start to continuously decrease, and it almost becomes 0 when we say at time t equal to infinity. Already we have talked about regarding the other compressibility parameter that we are coming across with, that's the coefficient of consolidation. So how to determine this coefficient of consolidation, already we have talked about based on your logarithmic time method, and that is your square root time method. So the details of those approaches by which we'll be talking about how to estimate the coefficient of consolidation based on your logarithm of time method and Taylor's method is explained. Okay, but however, the approach with regard to your logarithm of time method, what is represented here, is slightly different from the approach what I have talked about. But more or less, irrespective of what approach you follow, you will be getting more or less with small variation, you will be getting the values. But otherwise, you can follow either of those approaches. Nothing wrong in doing it. Okay, and we have also certainly talked about your square root time method. How do we carry out your square root time method by which you can determine your coefficient of consolidation? So everything is already discussed. I'm just quickly going through those slides. Just for your reference, I'm showing you them. So our next objective is to calculate what is called as your consolidation settlement in your soil. So how do we determine the consolidation settlement? So if we are talking about this so-called consolidation settlement, so the word consolidation itself says you are going to be coming across with what is called as primary consolidation and as well as your secondary compression. Okay, so first we'll try to look at how to estimate what is called as your primary consolidation. So in the process, if I want to start talking about how to calculate your primary consolidation, so what I can just quickly come from the basic fundamentals is delta H by H is equal to delta E by 1 plus E naught. Okay, so delta H is what I am referring it as the settlement in the soil. So settlement in the soil is equal to delta E by 1 plus E naught into H. This, if I just try to multiply with delta sigma dash in the numerator and denominator, then what we can rewrite is delta E by delta sigma dash is nothing but AV. AV by 1 plus E naught is nothing but MV. So settlement in the soil, that's nothing but the total settlement, what I am trying to talk about, not the settlement after some point of time. So this is the total settlement what we are trying to calculate here. So which I can write it as MV into H indicates the height of that particular clay layer in which the primary consolidation is happening into delta sigma dash. Now, what is this delta sigma dash is going to be equal to? I am trying to talk about your final settlement. Final settlement in the sense at time t equal to infinity. So automatically this effective stress is nothing but it is equal to your total stress, which we have already talked about. Okay. So how much is that increment in stress that you have applied on top of the soil sample, which is trying to cause your consolidation settlement in the soil. So S is nothing but MV into H into delta sigma. This is one way by which you can try to calculate what is called as your settlement in the soil. Okay, this is one of that approach by which I can try to calculate the total settlement. How much is the final settlement that your soil is expected to undergo in it. And we have also got other approaches by which I can try to estimate the settlement in the soil. So what are those other different approaches by which we can try to estimate the settlements in the soil? So I'll just once again come from the same basic fundamental expression. So delta E by 1 plus E or 1 plus E naught into your H. Now, if you look at your E versus log sigma dash curve, what we are trying to plot from the consolidation test data, we said we get some curve like this. Okay, the slope of this portion of the curve is what we call it as CS. Slope of this portion of the curve is what we write it as CC, somewhere in between this region, you would correspond to a point which refers to that of what is called as your maximum pass pressure, which we can try to calculate as like what we have discussed. Based on that approach, we can try to calculate what is your maximum pass pressure that your soil has been subjected to. So the portion of your E versus log sigma dash curve to the left of your maximum pass pressure is what is corresponding to the over consolidated state of the soil sample, and the portion of your E versus log sigma dash curve what we have on to the right side of your maximum pass pressure value. So that is what we call it as your normal E versus log sigma dash curve for your normally consolidated condition of the soil. Okay. Right. Now, let's come back here to talk about what I just wanted to find out. So, settlement once we wanted to talk about. Let's say, for example, if the soil in which the consolidation is happening is a normally consolidated soil, in case if the soil what we are trying to look at is a normally consolidated soil, okay, so how do we calculate the amount of settlement happening in that particular soil? So once we say normally consolidated soil, it means that this second portion of the curve, what we are trying to, let me say this is the first portion of the curve. The rest part of this is the second portion of the curve. First portion of the curve corresponds to the over consolidated region of the soil, and second portion of the curve corresponds to the stress levels relating to that of your normally consolidated condition of the soil. So once I am saying the soil is normally consolidated soil, what is the slope of this particular curve represented as? We represent it as your compression index, that is nothing but Cc. Okay, so how did we represent Cc? Cc is nothing but change in void ratio to that of the corresponding change in your effective stress, which we can write it as log sigma 2 dash by sigma 1 dash. It means to the base 10. Okay, so from this I can say delta E what we have is nothing but Cc into log sigma 2 dash, sigma 2 dash by sigma 1 dash. It means simply base to the base 10. Now this delta E is what I will be replacing in this particular expression. Delta E is replaced with Cc into log sigma 2 dash by sigma 1 dash. So what does this sigma 2 dash mean? Sigma 2 dash is nothing but initial effective stress plus change in stress, what is trying to cause an additional what we say settlement in that particular soil. Okay, so therefore my settlement expression in the case of a normally consolidated soil comes out to be equal to, so delta E is what I am going to be replacing with Cc into log sigma 2 dash by sigma 1 dash. So automatically my expression for settlement in the case of normally consolidated soils, if I want to estimate, so it comes out to be H by 1 plus E naught into Cc, okay, into log sigma 2 dash by sigma 1 dash. And this sigma 2 dash is what I can also write it as sigma 1 dash plus delta sigma. So because of that increment in stress in the soil sample, how much is that increment in stress that you have in your soil sample? So because of that increment in stress, so you are coming across initially some amount of effective stress is already there in the soil because of the self weight of the soil itself, and because of the increment in stress condition applied on that particular soil or applied on that particular ground, there is an increment in stress coming into picture. So that is what we are trying to say. Sigma 1 dash is the initial effective stress. Okay, I can either write it as sigma 1 dash, or I can also write it as sigma I dash, which indicates it is the initial effective stress, and sigma 2 dash is nothing but sigma f dash, that's the final effective stress. Okay, so in that particular clay layer, so how much is your initial effective stress getting developed, how much is your final effective stress getting developed? So if I can try to calculate, then I can say how much is going to be my settlement that is happening in that particular normally consolidated soil. Okay, next, if the settlement what we are trying to look at is in the case of the region of only over consolidated soil, let's say the initial effective stress what I am trying to look in the portion of your curve is some stress value here. because of that stress increment of delta sigma, let's say my final effective stress point is also corresponding to your over consolidated region only. Initial effective stress, how much is getting developed in the soil sample relates to that of your what is called as your over consolidated state, and even your final effective stress, what is getting applied on the soil sample, what is getting developed in the soil sample, is also onto your over consolidated region. Okay, so in such case, the type of soil what we are talking about is nothing but we call it as your so in case if it is over consolidated soil, basic expression is the same, that is settlement is equal to delta E by 1 plus E naught into H. Okay, and what is delta E here? I am writing it as, it's nothing but CS into log sigma 2 dash by sigma 1 dash, this total divided by 1 plus E naught into H. Okay, so what is that I have done? In case if you are trying to look at your E versus log sigma dash curve for the region of what is called as over consolidated, the slope of the curve is CS. So how do we write down CS? CS is nothing but, this is the void ratio, this is log sigma dash. Okay, so how do we write down? This is nothing but delta E by log sigma 2 dash by sigma 1 dash. Okay, so from this I am saying what is delta E? Delta E is nothing but CS into log sigma 2 dash by sigma 1 dash, and that's what I am writing it as my expression for estimating the settlement in the case of what is called as your over consolidated soil. Okay, so is it always compulsory that the load what is getting applied on the soil sample or the stress that is getting developed in the soil sample will be only onto the side of your over consolidated region of the curve or only onto the normally consolidated region of the curve? It's not always going to be possible. In case if the initial effective stress that is getting developed in the soil sample, if it is less than your maximum pass pressure, and final effective stress what is getting developed in the soil sample is greater than your maximum pass pressure. I repeat, initial effective stress what is getting developed in the soil is on to the left side somewhere here. This point you are referring to that of your maximum pass pressure data value point, and initial effective stress point you are referring to that of the stress value which is less than that of your maximum pass pressure. And how much is the final effective stress that is getting developed in the soil means it is on to the right side of your maximum pass pressure. So right side of the maximum pass pressure, you have your final effective stress data point. Okay, so what has happened is initial effective stress was corresponding to some value here, and final effective stress what is getting developed in the soil is on to another side of your maximum pass pressure data. It means initial effective stress corresponds to the over consolidated condition of the soil. Final effective stress what is getting developed in the soil refers to that of your normally consolidated state of the soil. Okay, so when you have such kind of combination of loading varying from what is called as over consolidated state to that of your normally consolidated state, in such case we try to estimate the settlement what is getting developed in the soil sample. Just try to look at here. So for the portion of your over consolidated state, when I say for the portion of the over consolidated state, the region of the stress variation is existing from what is called as your initial effective stress to that of your maximum pass pressure. This is for the region of your over consolidated state. So that means CS into log, see carefully, final effective stress within that over consolidated region portion of the curve. It is your maximum pass pressure, so which I can write it as sigma C dash or maybe P dash. Okay, so both are one and same. So in the expressions wherever I write sigma C dash or P C dash, both are representing what is called as maximum pass pressure, or I can also say pre-consolidation pressure. Okay, so this is nothing but sigma C dash by initial effective stress is sigma I dash. Into H is there, so CS into H into log of that term divided by 1 plus E naught plus for the rest portion of the stress condition varying from what is called as your PC dash to that of your final effective stress. So for that, the slope of your compression curve is nothing but Cc, because it is corresponding to the normally consolidated region of the soil. So height of the soil sample is H log. Your normal consolidated region portion of the curve is getting started from initial, that is your maximum pass pressure. From there only your normally consolidated condition of the soil is getting started, and the final effective stress is sigma f dash to the base 10 divided by 1 plus E naught. So this is how we are going to be calculating. In case if the stress range is varying from what is called as over consolidated state to that of your normally consolidated state. Okay, so that's how we go ahead in calculating the so-called primary consolidation that is getting developed in your soil. Okay, so you can look at here, if the case in which we are trying to estimate the settlement, the type of soil in which we are trying to estimate the settlement is for normally consolidated soil. So expression for estimating the settlement, already I have shown you how to calculate. So here sigma V naught dash indicates it is not refers to that of your what is called as initial. Okay, so in the vertical direction, I need not specifically call it as vertical, because automatically what we are trying to talk about is in the vertical direction only. So it's the initial effective stress plus increment in stress on that particular soil sample divided by your initial effective stress. And if the soil is existing in the completely in the over consolidated condition only, then the settlement, how do we estimate, is already I have talked about. And in case if part of the loading refers to that of your over consolidated region of the curve and part of the loading refers to that of your normally consolidated region of the curve, then the estimated settlement is going to be on the basis of your over consolidated portion of the curve with slope of the curve Cs, and the rest part of the loading region corresponding to normally consolidated part of the curve with the slope of the curve to be Cc. So based on both of them, you are going to be estimating your settlement, complete settlement in that particular soil. But what you have to be careful is, in the over consolidated region, when you are looking at the curve, what is that maximum range to which your over consolidated portion of the curve is extending. So it is extending only up to what is called as your maximum pass pressure. Beyond this, you have your normally consolidated portion of the curve. So for this normally consolidated portion of the curve, what is your initial effective stress for that normally consolidated region? Means it is once again your maximum pass pressure. Finally is going to be your sigma f dash. Okay, so accordingly we are required to be calculating. And this is how we go on to calculate your primary consolidation that is getting developed in your soil. Next is how to estimate what is called as your secondary consolidation settlement or secondary compression settlement. Okay, so how do we estimate this secondary compression settlement? Means for estimating this secondary compression settlement, we are going to be talking about plotting a graph once again. Okay, so we would be talking about plotting a graph between settlement, or rather instead of writing it as settlement, it is void ratio versus time indicated on log scale. Okay, so for some particular loading that is getting applied on the soil sample, I repeat, for some increment in stress applied on the soil sample, so we are going to observe how is your void ratio is changing with the increment in time. So if I am going to be looking at that particular portion of the curve, let's say that part of the curve is what I am getting something like this. So wherever the curvature of the curve is getting changed, if I am just trying to draw a tangent to this portion, and from the back end of this curve, if I am just trying to extend another tangent, wherever these two tangents intersect, we say, okay, that portion is what is corresponding to the end of your primary consolidation. Okay, so till here only you are going to have what is called as your primary consolidation, and beyond which the so-called settlements, whatever we are trying to represent, refers to that of what is called beyond this region. The portion of the curve, whatever you are trying to represent, indicates you what is called as for secondary compression settlement. Okay, so once we start looking at your secondary compression settlement curve, the region of your secondary compression settlement curve, I'm just trying to look at, to zoom it slightly like this. the slope of this portion of your secondary compression curve in between any 2 point time intervals, what we are trying to look at. Okay, so the slope of this portion of the curve is what we are writing it as C alpha. So the slope of this portion of the curve, whatever we have in the secondary compression region, the slope of this portion of the curve is what we are calling it as C alpha. And where this C alpha is nothing but we call it as secondary compression index. Okay, or otherwise we also call it as coefficient of secondary consolidation or secondary compression. So either we call it as secondary compression index or coefficient of secondary compression or secondary consolidation. So how are we writing this C alpha? C alpha is nothing but change in void ratio for the corresponding change in your logarithmic value of time, or otherwise I can also write it as delta E by log T2 by T1. This is how I can try to write down. So based on this coefficient, we can once again go ahead in writing down, because what is this from here? Delta E is what I can write it as C alpha into log T2 by T1 to the base 10. And once I want to know how much is the settlement that is happening in my soil, if I wanted to go ahead in calculating. So settlement in soil, which settlement? It's the secondary compression settlement. So if I want to find out how much is my secondary compression settlement in the soil, so secondary compression settlement in the soil is what I can once again come back from the same basic fundamentals. Delta E by 1 plus E naught is equal to delta H by H. Earlier, just few minutes before also we have talked about. So delta H is nothing but settlement in the soil due to the secondary compression I am looking at. So which is equal to delta E by 1 plus E naught into H. And delta E is what I am writing it as C alpha into log T2 by T1 to the base 10. So automatically my settlement due to secondary compression, if I want to write down, so it's nothing but delta E is C alpha into log T2 by T1 to the base 10. Okay, yeah, delta E is this much into H is there. Okay, H I'll try to write in the front. What does this H indicate? H indicates it is the height of that particular clay layer in which your consolidation process is happening, divided by 1 plus E. I'm not here particularly writing it as E naught. Understand? I'm not writing it as particularly E naught, rather I am trying to use another wording, EPC. What does this EPC mean? It is the void ratio what we have in the soil sample at the end of primary consolidation. Because earlier we used to use the word initial void ratio. Okay, so what is this initial void ratio corresponding to the secondary compression curve means? Initial void ratio corresponding to the secondary compression portion of the curve indicates it is nothing but it is the void ratio that is existing in the soil at the end of your primary consolidation. When is your secondary compression getting started? At the end of primary consolidation. Okay, so the void ratio existing in the soil, if I just try to extend this point onto your vertical axis, the corresponding void ratio what we have here is what I am writing it as EPC. That's the void ratio what is existing in the soil at the end of your primary consolidation is nothing but I can call it as your initial void ratio corresponding to your secondary compression in the soil. That is only something slightly what we have to understand in the discussion. Otherwise, everything, all the story what we try to talk about is once again the same. Okay, that's how we try to estimate how much is your settlement due to secondary compression. So quickly let us go through that particular expressions whatever we have. So we are trying to plot a graph between void ratio versus time on the logarithmic scale. So when I am trying to find which is the portion of the curve corresponding to your primary consolidation, which is the portion of the curve corresponding to secondary compression. So in the region of the secondary compression part of the curve, if I am trying to find out what is the slope of that slope of the curve is what we are representing it as C alpha. So based on that, so C alpha, how are we writing means? It is nothing but delta E by log T2 minus log T1 I can write, or delta E by log of T2 by T1, either of the way I can try to write. And So what is that? Ultimately, I'm trying to represent here means it's the same thing whatever we have talked about couple of minutes earlier in the process of estimating your settlements in the soil. This so-called secondary compression settlement is said to be more important in the case of all organic and highly compressible inorganic soils. So whenever we are trying to talk about organic soils and as well as highly compressible inorganic, even in the case of highly compressible inorganic soils also, in such kind of soils only you are going to see this secondary consolidation settlement criteria is going to be relatively important. But when it comes to the case of your over consolidated inorganic soils or maybe your normally consolidated inorganic soils to some extent, so we say the amount of your secondary consolidation settlement is relatively small, or we say it's almost negligible. Okay. So when it comes to organic soils or highly compressible inorganic soils, so in all such cases, we try to focus much in understanding how much is the exact secondary compression settlement that we are coming across with. Okay. So let's go ahead in solving some couple of problems related to the concepts what we have talked about in the last 3-4 lectures. Okay. So yeah, one problem what is mentioned here is the following are the results what we have obtained from the laboratory consolidation test, which is conducted on a clay sample, and the data is given below. Pressure applied on the soil sample is given and the corresponding void ratio existing in the soil sample is given. Okay. So for a stress 23.94 kilopascals, the amount of void ratio existing at the end of that is 1.112. Likewise, when this much pressure is applied, so corresponding void ratio is 1.105, and likewise so on. For different stress values induced in the soil, you have your corresponding void ratio corresponding to that particular soil. And what you are asked is draw a graph or a plot between E versus log sigma data. Okay. Next is determine the pre-consolidation pressure and find out the compression index, that is CC. So what we need to do, we have we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points. Okay. So with respect to these 6 data points, let's go ahead in plotting the graph between your E versus log sigma dash curve. So I have got let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. If I'm just trying to represent, let's say I've got some curve like this. Okay. I'm not just looking at the numbers. I'm just roughly telling you how are we required to solve the problem. So after plotting your 6 points, I'm going to join all those 6 points by a smooth curve. Okay. And this is the first part of the question what is asked. You are asked to plot that graph between E versus log sigma dash data. Right. What is the second part of the question what is asked? You are asked to calculate what is your maximum pass pressure or the pre-consolidation pressure. Okay. So what we need to do? So I have to identify some particular point where the curvature of the curve is getting changed drastically. So I'll say this is a particular point where the curvature of the curve is getting changed. At this point, I'll just try to draw a horizontal line. To this point only, we just try to draw a tangent and we determine what is this angle alpha. And then we go on to draw what is called as an angular bisector line, where this line will divide this alpha angle into 2 equal halves. Okay. So this horizontal line, I am calling it as AB line. Tangent, what is drawn at point A, is what I am indicating it as AC line. And this angular bisector line, I am representing it as AD line. Now, what I am going to be doing is from the back end of this E versus log sigma dash curve, try to draw another tangent. Wherever this particular tangent intersects your angular bisector line, AD line, so that point is what I am writing it as E point. So from point E, I am going to project that point onto your horizontal axis. Okay, so in order to get what is your maximum pass pressure that your soil sample is, has experienced. Okay, so this is how we calculate what is your maximum pass pressure. Now, what is the third question that we were asked to find out? So we were asked to determine what is your compression index. So look at your E versus log sigma dash curve and take the reference of the portion of the curve which is onto the right side region of your maximum pass pressure. So if I say here is the region of your maximum pass pressure, this is a stress condition. So take this part of the E versus log sigma dash curve and try to calculate its slope. So that slope is what we are calling it as your CC. Okay, that's how we are going to be solving your problem. I'm not exactly taking up how to solve it, but I'm just giving you an idea of how those particular parameters are to be determined according to the data what is given in the problem. And next, what is asked or what is given in the problem is, data is obtained from one increment for certain stress increment, what is applied on the soil sample. In the conventional multi-increment consolidation test, that means it's your typical odometer test, what we are talking about. So in the odometer test, what we do, we go on for applying different increment in stresses. But this particular data, what is given in the table, is for a particular increment in stress. Okay, for that particular increment in stress, at different intervals of time, you are given with some dial gauge reading, whatever the dial gauge reading that you are referring to. Okay, so what is that increment in stress that you have? Before you have already what is called as 60 kilopascals of stress acting on the soil sample, and now you went on to increase the stress on the soil sample up to what is 120 kilopascal. So how much is the increment in stress on the soil sample? Your increment in the stress on your soil sample, delta sigma, is nothing but 60 kilopascal. So delta sigma, how much additional stress that you are applying on the soil sample means it is nothing but it is simply equal to 60 kilopascal. And you could see some of the data what is given. Okay, dial gauge reading at the start of the current increment. I am not saying it is the dial gauge reading at the start of the test. Before you started to place an additional stress increment of 60 kilopascals on the soil sample, the dial gauge reading what you had is 3.74 mm. It means already your soil has got compressed by 3.74 mm. due to the load what was applied from 0 kilopascals to 60 kilopascals of loading. What was the initial height of the soil sample when your test was started? It is 20 mm. Specific gravity of soil solids of that particular soil sample is 2.65. This is the data what is given, and what you are asked to calculate is you are asked to determine the coefficient of consolidation data of that particular soil. So we know we can try to determine the coefficient of consolidation either by based on your square root time method or based on what is your logarithm of time method. Okay, so already if I am required to plot a graph, which graph is to be plotted? In case of a square root time method, if I am trying to solve this particular problem, so how do we plot the graph? We are going to be plotting a graph between the data of under root of time value on the horizontal axis, whereas on the vertical axis we will be indicating what is called as your settlement in the soil. Okay, settlement in the soil on the vertical axis, under root time value on your horizontal axis we will be representing, and accordingly we will try to solve for whatever is asked, that is the coefficient of consolidation. Okay, so these two data is already given in the problem, and now our objective is to understand how much settlement took place in your soil sample. I repeat, how much settlement happened to take place in your soil sample. What is the settlement that took place in your soil sample at time t equal to 0? Just when your load increment is applied, we say the settlement subsequently happening is 0. As time increases, as at t greater than 0 seconds or 0th minute, once we start looking at, then we are subsequently coming across with the settlement what is subsequently happening in your soil sample. So how are we calculating this? So we are going to be calculating it based on the dial gauge readings which are given here. Okay, look at here the dial gauge readings which are given. So this is the initial dial gauge reading, and after 0.25 minutes I could see the dial gauge reading value of 3.86. What does it mean? Over 0.25 minutes, the amount of settlement which happened in that particular soil sample is 0.12 mm. And next, by half minute, that is by 0.5 minute, the amount of settlement which took place in the soil sample is 3.74 minus 3.88 minus 3.74. That means 0.14 is going to be the settlement for complete half minute, and accordingly we'll just try to understand how is your settlement happening in the soil for different time intervals at which you have measured your dial gauge reading. Okay, this is your time, this is the settlement what you are trying to talk about, and you are required to plot a graph between, we are going to be talking about a graph between under root time data on horizontal axis with settlement data represented on the vertical axis. Okay, so we have a curve like this. What we do in the case of square root time method, we say, okay, in the initial portion of the curve, try to draw a tangent. Let's say I am calling this as AB line. Okay, so once I know what is the slope of this AB line, then I am going to draw another line which is called as AC line, where the slope of this AC line is equal to 1.15 times that of your slope of the AB line. So wherever your AC line intersects your settlement versus under root time curve which you have plotted with the data what you have here. Okay, so for a particular load increment, you have time versus settlement data available. So for that data, when you are plotting a graph, you have a graph. So wherever your AC line intersects your settlement versus under root time curve, so that point I am just trying to extend it onto my vertical axis. It says that it is nothing but it is the settlement what is happening in the soil corresponding to 90% degree of consolidation, and the corresponding time what I am having on the vertical axis which I can measure, I will be getting it as under root T90, from which I can say what is T90 actually. Okay, so which is for 90% degree of consolidation, what is the time required? And we'll go back to our basic fundamental expression that we had, that is nothing but time factor corresponding to 90% degree of consolidation is equal to CV into time required for that 90% degree of consolidation divided by HD square. Okay, and what is the height of the soil sample in which my consolidation is happening? Okay, so that height of the soil sample in which my consolidation is happening is something very important. What is the height of that soil sample in which consolidation is happening? Because of the load increment what you have applied. Initial height of the soil sample was 20 mm. But before you started applying the stress increment, what you are now currently looking at from 60 kilopascal to 120 kilopascal, already a settlement of how much took place in your soil sample? A settlement of 3.74 mm has already happened in your soil sample because of the first 60 kilopascals of loading what you have applied on the soil sample. Okay, so my height of the soil sample, I repeat, it's the height of the soil sample what I am trying to talk about before, or rather I can say, yeah, before stress increment. So my height of the soil sample before stress increment is nothing but 20 mm minus the initial dial gauge reading value, that is 3.74 mm. So 20 minus 3.74, so automatically this value comes out to be 16.26 mm. Okay, and what is given is, it's typically your consolidation test, the sample what you are looking at is in the case of consolidation test. So in the case of conventional consolidation test, you have a two-way drainage existing. So automatically once we say it is a two-way drainage, then what is your HDR value? HDR value is nothing but half of your H which you have calculated, that is half of 16.26 is what is your HDR. Yeah. So time required for 90% degree of consolidation is known, and the time factor value for corresponding 90% degree of consolidation is the standard value, which we said 0.848. So your time factor is known, time corresponding to 90% degree of consolidation is known, and your HDR value is known. So ultimately what is unknown is your coefficient of consolidation existing there. Okay, so that's how you can try to solve your problem. And next, question number 3. What is given in the problem? A clay soil tested in a consolidometer showed a decrease in the void ratio from 1.2 to 1.1. So when you are carrying out the consolidation test, the void ratio in that particular soil sample changed from 1.2 to 1.1 when the pressure was increased from 0.25 to 0.5 kg force per centimeter square. Okay, so what has happened when you are trying to increase the stress value on that particular soil sample from 0.25 to 0.5 kg per centimeter square, the corresponding void ratio is changing in that soil sample from 1.2 to 1.1. Calculate the coefficient of compressibility, that is AV, coefficient of volume compressibility, that is MV. If the coefficient of consolidation determined in the test for the given stress increment was 10 meters square per year, it means CV is given, which is nothing but 10 meters square per year. Initial void ratio in the soil sample is 1.2. Okay, so I can say E1 is something 1.2, E2, which I am writing it as final void ratio, which is 1.1 for a stress variation of, okay, so sigma 1 is equal to 0.25 kg per centimeter square, and sigma 2 is 0.5 kg per centimeter square. So how much is my stress increment? Delta sigma is nothing but it is 0.5 minus 0.25. So automatically it comes out to be 0.25 kg per centimeter square is the increment in stress applied on the soil sample, because of which the change in void ratio what you are coming across in the soil sample, that is delta E, is equal to 0.1. That is 1.2 minus 1.1, which is here 0.1. So my objective here is to calculate AV, MV, and subsequently you are also asked to calculate the coefficient of permeability in centimeters per second. Okay, so let's go ahead in seeing each of them what is to be calculated. AV is to be calculated. So how do we write down AV? It's change in void ratio for the corresponding change in your stress increment applied on the soil sample. Change in void ratio is 0.1 for the corresponding increase in stress value. Okay, so you'll be getting some value here for AV. And similarly for MV, if I'm just trying to go ahead, MV is nothing but AV by 1 plus E naught. Okay, so this E naught is nothing but it's the initial void ratio what we are referring to. So my initial void ratio, instead of writing it as E naught here, let me write it as E1. Instead of writing it as E1, let me write it as E naught. Instead of writing it as E2, let me write it as EF. EF indicates my final void ratio. Here also, initial stress, some final stress. According to my requirement, I am just trying to look in that particular data. Okay, so AV is already calculated, something from the previous expression, and E naught is nothing but it is equal to 1.2. Okay, 0.4. Yeah, what are the units? Delta E will not have any units. Change in void ratio will not have any units, but in the denominator you have change in stress. Okay, stress in the denominator. So automatically this comes out to be centimeter square per kg. Reverse of your stress units. Okay, MV is nothing but 0.4 divided by 1 plus the initial void ratio in the soil sample was 1.2, 0.18 centimeter square per kg. Okay, because AV has got these units and denominator 1 plus E naught is a void ratio which do not have any unit. And next you are asked to calculate your coefficient of permeability of the soil. Coefficient of permeability, from where do I get? If you can recall, we had the expression for CV while talking about your coefficient of consolidation from one-dimensional consolidation theory. We said CV is nothing but K by MV into gamma W, if I am correct. Okay, so from here I can say K is nothing but CV into MV into gamma W. If I am wrong, please do correct me. And the CV data is already given, MV data is what you have calculated, and gamma W is a standard value. CV is given as 10 meters square per year, but your coefficient of permeability data what you wanted to calculate is in terms of centimeters per second. So if you want to calculate your coefficient of permeability in centimeters per second, CV what is given as let me convert this CV which is given as 10 meters square per year in terms of centimeters per second. I will try to write down centimeters square per second. So it is nothing but 10 into 1 meter is 10 square centimeters, that's 100 centimeter, and whole square of meter, so it is 10 to the power of 4 centimeter square. This is per year, but what I wanted is per second. So if I want to calculate it per second, so in the denominator, per year I'll have 365 days. Each day I'll have, each day I'll have 24 hours. Each hour I'll have 60 minutes. Each minute I'll have 60 seconds. Okay, 3.17 into 10 to the power of minus 3 centimeter square per second. So I have my CV value now in terms of centimeter square per second. MV value is already there in terms of centimeter square per kg, and gamma W in terms of your standard value you can represent, okay, which should be according to you. You have to accordingly substitute that here in kg per centimeter cube gamma value, and you will be getting what is your coefficient of permeability of that particular soil. And another question what is asked in the problem is, calculate the coefficient of permeability in centimeters per second. It is complete. If the sample tested at the site was taken from a clay layer of 3 meter in thickness, whatever the soil sample that you have tested in the lab, if it was taken from your field from a soil layer of 3 meter in thickness, determine the consolidation settlement resulting from the so-called given stress increment. Okay. So we are required to calculate how much is my consolidation settlement. Settlement because of that consolidation, what is happening due to the stress increment. Stress increment from where to where? 0.25 kg per centimeter square to 0.5 kg per centimeter square. In the means delta sigma, that's the increment in stress what is applied on the soil sample, which is causing the so-called consolidation settlement, is nothing but increment in stress is 0.25 kg per centimeter square. Okay. So settlement in the soil, that's the consolidation settlement what is happening in the soil. If you can recall, mv into h into delta sigma dash or delta sigma, we said at the end of consolidation automatically your delta sigma dash or delta sigma both are one and same. mv is something already you have calculated, 0.18. height of the clay layer is what we are trying to refer to. So how much is the height of that clay layer, original clay layer in the field? It is 3 meter thickness. Okay. So 3 meter is what I am converting into centimeter because the other data is in centimeters. So 3 into 100. Increment in stress is 0.25 kg per centimeter square. So if I try to calculate, I'll be getting 13.5 centimeters. So in the real field, when you have that much stress increment existing, you are going to have what is called as a settlement, which is equal to 13.5 for the clay layer of 3 meter thickness. Okay, so that's how we are going to be calculating the stress, settlement in the soil. And similarly, let's go on to calculate what is asked in the other problem, that is example 4. So what is given here is a 8 meter thick clay layer with single drainage settles by 120 mm in 2 years. Okay, so your height of the clay layer is 8 meters and it is said one-way drainage. Okay, so it's a one-way drainage case. So automatically HDR is nothing but it is equal to H, which is equal to 8 meters. Okay, and settlement what you are coming across in the soil is 120 mm in how many years? In 2 years basically. Okay, so settlement at the end of 2 years is 120 mm. And the coefficient of consolidation for this clay was found to be, okay, CV, that's the coefficient of consolidation for this soil is given, which is 6 into 10 to the power of minus 3 centimeter square per second. Okay, next, calculate the likely ultimate consolidation settlement and find out how long it will take to undergo 90% of this settlement. Okay, so what you are given is, after 2 years, the amount of settlement that 8 meter thickness clay layer is going to have is 120 mm. Coefficient of consolidation is given. and you are asked to find out what is the ultimate consolidation settlement. That means the maximum consolidation or total primary consolidation settlement, basically what we are trying to talk here. So if I am required to calculate what is my settlement final, how do I do that? Okay, so if I want to find out your final settlement, we have seen earlier some expression MV into H into delta sigma dash. For calculating MV, I don't have any data in terms of stress increment or void ratios. So that expression cannot be used for calculating final settlement. Okay. Then how do I go ahead? So what we can think of doing is, I'll go back to some fundamentals. Okay, so this is what I wanted to calculate. So for calculating this, what I'll try to do is, we know what is called as U, capital U, which we call it as a degree of consolidation. So what is this degree of consolidation? How do we define this degree of consolidation? Degree of consolidation is nothing but settlement in the soil at any time divided by settlement after some infinite time. Okay, so here I am trying to talk about settlement after 2 years because this data is known to me, divided by the final settlement which I am trying to calculate. Okay, so if in case, I repeat, if in case I know how much is the degree of consolidation that I have for that particular soil when for a duration of 2 years. Okay, so for this duration of 2 years, if I can correspondingly understand how much degree of consolidation is achieved in that particular soil, then once your U value is known, then I can try to go ahead in calculating your final settlement that your soil is going to have, which has got a 8 meters thickness. If I am correct, yeah, it is 8 meter thickness soil layer. So for finding out your degree of consolidation, we have a relation between degree of consolidation and time factor. If I know time factor, I can get degree of consolidation. If I can get degree of consolidation, then I can say what is your final settlement in the soil. But how to find out the time factor? We know time factor is nothing but CV into T by HD square. CV data is already given. Time. Which time? 2 years duration. For that corresponding 2 years duration, what is your respective time factor data is what I am required to calculate. For that corresponding time factor related to 2 years, what is your degree of consolidation? Okay, so for that degree of consolidation, once I know this degree of consolidation corresponding to 2 years period, then I can say what is my corresponding final settlement happening in that particular soil. Okay, CV data, let me write down 6 into 10 to the power of minus 3 centimeters square per second. 6 into 10 to the power of minus 3 centimeters square per second into time. Time is in years, so 2 into 365, because CV is per second data what I have, so I am converting this time also into seconds. 2 into 365 days, 1 day 24 hours, 1 hour 60 minutes, 1 minute 60 seconds. This total divided by, yeah, HDR square. What is HDR here? It's a one-way drainage. So HDR is equal to the height of your clay layer. So height of the clay layer is given as 8 meters. So 8 meters I am converting into centimeters, so which is 800 centimeters. Time factor value 0.5913 is the time factor value corresponding to 2 years. Now, let me go to the relation what we had between your time factor and degree of consolidation. Okay, now the time factor value is known. I am required to calculate your degree of consolidation data. So what are those expressions that we had for finding out your so-called degree of consolidation? So we have two expressions here, that is U is equal to 2 into square root of T by pi, where pi means it is 3.14. Okay, so this expression is valid for U less than or equal to 60%. And another expression for U is given as 1 minus 8 by pi square into e to the power of minus pi square by 4 into T. This expression is valid for U greater than 60%. What I know here is time factor value is known, but I don't know whether your corresponding degree of consolidation what you will be getting is less than or equal to 60% or greater than 60%. You understood my statement? I know what is the time factor, but I do not know what is the degree of consolidation that you are going to be getting for this corresponding time factor of 0.5913. So it means whether I should use this expression to find out degree of consolidation or for this expression to be used for finding out degree of consolidation, I do not know. Then what should I do? So first, blindly start with one expression. Doesn't matter. This is one expression I am saying. This is another expression I am saying. Okay. So let me substitute this t value, that's the time factor value, what we have calculated in equation 1. In case if I start substituting your time factor value in equation 1, that is u is equal to 2 into under root t by pi. So that is nothing but 2 into, what is your time factor value which we have? 0.5913. And pi is nothing but 3.14. 0.86. Okay, in percentage, if I am writing it, it is nothing but 86.76%. What is that first expression telling you? First expression says that it is valid only in the case when your degree of consolidation is less than or equal to 60%. Am I correct or not? So it means when you are substituting the time factor of 0.5913 in this first equation, the degree of consolidation value, what you are getting is greater than 60%. It means that substituting the time factor value into this first expression is not correct. I hope you understood what I said. Time factor value of 0.5913, when you have substituted into equation 1, you are getting the corresponding degree of consolidation to be something 86.76%. But we know that this particular expression is valid only for degree of consolidation which is less than or equal to 60%. It means that the data what you have substituted into this expression is not the correct substitution. Then what I should do? I should go on to use your second expression that we had here. In this second expression, substitute your time factor value is equal to 0.5913. So that means, so this expression is not the correct expression to use. So what is the correct expression to use? It's nothing but 1 minus 8 by pi square into e to the power of minus pi square by 4 into t. 0.811. So if it is 0.811, then automatically how much is your degree of consolidation in percentage if I am trying to represent? It's nothing but 81.1%. And we know that, okay, second expression is very much valid for all your degree of consolidation greater than 60%. And this u value, what you have calculated is in that range only. It means using your second expression is the correct one for estimating your degree of consolidation. Okay. So for degree of consolidation of 81.1%, I am once again writing down settlement corresponding to 2 years, because this 81.1% degree of consolidation I am getting at what time? At 2 years, okay, divided by the final settlement. So this implies my final settlement what I have in the soil is equal to, settlement that you have in that soil after 2 years divided by your degree of consolidation what you have corresponding to the 2 years period. Okay, so for that corresponding 2 years period, I am trying to refer to. Okay, this is not 8, this is 2 years. Right, please do substitute into this to get me what is your final settlement, because settlement after 2 years is 120 centimeters or something what is given in the data. Yeah, 120 mm is the settlement what you have in that particular soil layer in 2 years. That's the data given. 120 mm divided by, so degree of consolidation what you have at the end of 2 years for that 8 meters thickness clay layer is 0.811 in fraction if I am substituting. Okay, 147.96 mm is going to be my final settlement because of the primary consolidation in that particular soil. And the second part of the question what you are asked there is for 90% degree of consolidation, you are asked to calculate how much is the settlement that you are going to have in that particular soil. Okay, so once we say 90% degree of consolidation, u is given as 90%. Okay, degree of consolidation, once again I can say it is the settlement after some time by your final settlement. Okay, so in this expression I know already my final settlement. That's nothing but 147.96 mm. Now my objective is to understand how much is the settlement that you are going to have corresponding to some time where you are reaching 90% degree of consolidation in the soil. Okay. So when you are talking about 90% degree of consolidation, so U value is equal to 90% is what we are trying to substitute. By substituting U is equal to 90%, it means 0.9 is the value in terms of the fraction I have to substitute. So 0.9. So settlement in the soil corresponding to that 90% degree of consolidation is nothing but 0.9 into the final settlement what you have in the soil. Okay, so that value 133.164 mm is the settlement what you are going to have in the soil at the end of 90% consolidation in the soil. Okay, so with this I'll stop my discussion for today.